At the time of purchase, the cap rail was in need of a varnish refresh. It was our first project, and I hired a guy that was the lower of the two bids that I got. It was actually almost half, and he wanted to strip the varnish and then use a two-part epoxy and finish with a layer or two of varnish for UV protection. The rationale being we get a lot more life out of the two-part epoxy and could just sand and reapply varnish on top of it. I have since learned you can't apply epoxy directly to teak. You have to put varnish down, build it up, then you could do a two-part and finish again with another layer of varnish. So anyway, he did all of this, and after I left, I got busy with work, traveling, and he switched from using a heat gun to a chemical stripper to get everything melted away. The finished product looked fantastic for about a month, maybe a month and a half, and then the two-part epoxy started to separate from the teak, and I guess it's from the oil rising up through the wood. So I ended up having to hire a new guy to do it right the second time. And that chemical stripper stuff, well, he spilled it all over my gel coat, and anywhere it came in contact with the gel coat, it just melted and pitted the gel coat, and you can see it here all along the near the bowsprit, and it's actually around the entire boat. It's the worst in this area, however, and there's a bunch more down here along the drain area. You can also see all that lighter dots. That's actually just the gel coat has been buffed so many times over the years that it's worn super thin. You can see it all up in here too. All of that wear was there when we purchased the boat. So I was aware it was she's in need of either a paint job or a gel coat refresh along the bulwark on the inside. Here's some more of the damage. This stuff was mostly existing, although I think that big one there was from the chemical stripper. Cleaning the surface with a couple of passes of acetone with a fresh paper towel for each pass. And I've settled on this total boat white gel coat. The price is right, and the color match is pretty good. It's just a little bit whiter than the existing gel coat on the boat. The existing's got a little bit more of a yellow tint to it, and I actually experimented with some pigments trying to color match and get it a little closer, but all my color matching is less accurate than the just pure white. It's so close that yeah, I'm happy with it. This is my first attempt working with gel coat. I bought a bunch of these disposable syringes, and my thinking was I would just fill the holes and overflow them a bit and then let it set. I'm using a gel coat that includes wax, so the wax rises to the surface, and I guess it blocks the oxygen from coming into contact with the gel coat mixture, and that's what allows it to cure. The negative with that is you have to strip all the wax off before you can apply another layer of gel coat. The alternative is to use some wax paper with a wax-free gel coat, which fast forward, geez, it's been a couple of years now. That's what I'm doing now. Is I'm playing around with a wax-free and putting the wax paper down, and then I can actually use the wax paper as I just run like a trowel over it, the wax paper to smooth the surface, and then I don't get as much of this bulging. I'll shoot a video on that next time I'm out there. This process works, but it takes a lot of tedious sanding and sometimes using a little rotary Dremel tool to grind down the big bubbles. And it's just like painting. I've had to go back with a couple passes. After this stuff cures and sands, I go back with a chip brush and just brush on the across the entire area. And then I've been using I think a 120 or 80 grit and then 120 to ferret, smooth it. And then my third pass is with a roller and a lighter sand. And ultimately I need to buff everything with a polishing compound and get some wax on it. But I haven't actually gotten that far along with any of this. I've just been each time we're out for the weekend, I'll take an hour and prep and fill fill some holes.